the rest of eternity be horribly embarrassed by it.
Oh, now we're good.
This page is complete. Did it submit
There we
yet?
go. We're in.
What?
We're
Oh,
live!
yo!
I feel like Gene Wilder. What?
What? Anyway, hello, children. Welcome back.
Hi, Kira. Again.
Yes, hi, Kira. We already said hi, Kira, but nobody else heard us, so it only slightly counts. It's good to have you all back at it. I keep forgetting that I am like the person who now introduces these episodes, and I'm just great. It's very off-putting.
Kira says we're not streaming right now. Can we check?
We
Yeah,
are.
no, I'm still checking. We're still not streaming.
It says for me. It says for me that we're streaming. It's live. We're live right now.
Kira says she's not getting anything.
I have been switching back and forth between the home tab and videos tab on YouTube, and
It's live.
there, now it's live.
Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good.
I saw it for a brief moment.
I'm getting epically, infinitely mirrored us. It's beautiful.
Now I'm not seeing it. It popped up just for a second.
It's definitely going. I got the notification on my YouTube.
I see it now.
Going.
Okay.
So, assuming that you all can hear us and can see us, maybe we're just talking to ourselves. Maybe we're all just in an infinite looping bubble of nothing. And that's just what the universe is.
We're streaming.
Welcome back. We're streaming the bubble of nothing. So, last we left off, our adventurers had an encounter of only slightly epic proportions with a bunch of dust mephits that attacked the settlement where they have been staying for the past day. They were warned about the raids that have been ongoing by the chieftain of the settlement, of the Flynn settlement, and then one such attack did occur last night, and as they were able to kill off 3 of the dust mephits and capture a 4th, they did look out, trying to figure out where the source of the attacks were, and in the light of I forget what spell it was some sort of lightning strike from our resident gunslinger. They did happen to see a figure standing in the cliffs above the settlement. Something that looked humanoid but had a jackal for a head. An entire jackal.
An entire jackal. Very confused jackal. Just.
What am I doing to this guy's head?
Yes, the entire jackal's body was on this head. No. Alright, so yes, you saw a figure with a jackal's head for its head, because that's how this works. And that is where we last left, and I've completely destroyed the immersion, so we're gonna jump right in. What do y'all want to do? It's like 2 a.m. You have a guard that is literally like sitting on top of one of these dust mephits, and a whole lot of bodies, mephit bodies laying around. At this point, a lot of the Flynns are starting to poke their heads out of the tents and are talking very excitedly and a little bit fearfully among each other. Most of you don't understand what they're saying, but everybody's awake now.
Can I roll survival or knowledge nature to confirm that it wasn't just 3 jackals in a trench coat?
You may not. No.
Okay. No, I don't want to. That's a joke.
Please wait, no, I want you to roll, and I want you to see if you natural one.
Do I even know what a trench coat is?
No.
Was this thing within 30 feet?
I rolled quite well, actually.
Okay, it was not 2 jackals. Although you do
that would have been a plot.
I'm not sure what a trench coat is, but you think it might be a good idea. Felix, you asked, are they within 30 feet?
Yes, was the thing that everyone saw within 30 feet?
No.
Okay, so Felix didn't see it.
Yeah,
cool. Felix is gonna ask if all the things are dead.
Well, there's one that's still being suckled, but...
Yes, which I think we should interrogate.
Alright. Felix, I'm assuming has somebody told Felix what...
No.
Who did we say saw it last time? I know only a couple of people
Me.
I think it was everyone but Felix, I thought.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I don't think. Did small wizard girl see it? Harley's character. I can't remember her name.
Azalea.
Thank you.
Hi, Lewis. There you go. Cat face.
I'm going to assume this cat face, but where's the cat butt?
Under the cat face.
Under the cat.
We'll make it turn around.
Sorry. He just got comfortable. There you go.
Hello, cat butt. I like your rug.
Thank you.
So yeah, assuming that everyone did see it, I'm guessing that somebody will tell Felix, unless you're intentionally keeping him in the dark about the scary jackal man.
Jackalman.
Jackalman.
Hugh Jackalman.
The guard at this point is going to like kind of look up and a little help here, please.
I'll walk over and put my foot on the dust thingy's throat.
Okay, it's still kind of like twitching and thrashing as best as it can, but the guard does have a very secure hold on it. He just looks a little bit. It looks like he's starting to get a little bit tired out. Buffett kind of hisses in your face and shows its teeth and it struggles against you, but now starting to gargle a little bit as you apply pressure to the throat.
I'll put my rapier at its throat just in case it tries anything. So if it tries to get up, it's going to go right into the blade.
Okay.
Like the back of the neck, I guess.
Okay.
I would like to load my other fire crystal.
Mm-hmm.
Fire it once into the ground next to his head, and press the hot what is it called?
Barrel.
Petricite, the hot petricite, like right up to his cheek, and kind of like burn him a little bit, and say, "Calm down."
Okay.
Burning people calm them down.
So I want you to make a CMB check.
CMB?
Yeah. Because I want to see if you can keep him tapped down. Because here's what you just did. This guard did not see you, firing off a whole bunch of shots. The only shot that he saw was probably the one with which you saw the jackal. You just fired an explosive weapon right next to him. He's kind of holding the method. He's probably going to jump. I'm going to also make a check for him, but I kind of want to see him crap his pants.
0.
Oh.
But should I clarify that? Natural 1.
Okay.
And Kira, CMB is combat maneuver base. CMD is combat maneuver defense. It's a Pathfinder thing that we did not use in the Santa Marina campaign.
All right.
It's meant to avoid all of those ugly rolls for grappling, etc.
I think it's worked out right so far, except we're just really bad at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're also low level. I have a -1 to my CMB and a 12 CMD.
All right. Where's everyone else standing?
Where was I
I'm
at?
next to it because I had my blade at its neck so that if it tried to get up, it would.
Oh, we found a
itself.
replacement for Tubby Cat.
Yes.
I found Tasha and I found a non-tubby cat. All right. As you do this, the gun goes off, and instantly the guard kind of just in surprise lets go, and you scramble for the dust method, but it manages just to jerk out of the way and immediately begins scampering off in the opposite direction.
Okay. Does it impale itself when it jerks up?
That's right, you did have that. So I'm gonna say that it was able to roll to the side, just because you've got
Reflex
I
save.
had my foot on its throat, so it would have had to roll towards where her blade was.
right, but that's why I had you do.
It doesn't matter if I failed to hold it down. I still directed the way that it would have had to roll.
Okay,
Where's the guard?
it's literally right on top of it. Okay. So he's pinned down. Okay, and Tasha, explain to me exactly how you're pointing it down at him.
Basically, if we had Fen on one side with his boot on one side of this guy's throat, I had my blade basically right here against the other side.
Okay, I see.
So that if he moved, in any way other than straight into Fen, he's gonna impale himself with my blade straight through the neck.
So unless Fen fell backwards, it wouldn't be possible, is what you're saying.
Right. Unless
Alright.
that is
How
going
bad is a
backwards.
natural? How bad is a natural 1 though?
I'm trying to think of this because I think he should. Because I'm thinking I'm gonna roll that he would.
Should I roll acrobatics?
If you want to try and catch him, I'm still gonna roll because the both of you were unable to catch him before he got there.
What was
Wait,
Cervena's
both?
CMB?
I didn't roll a CMB.
Yeah, why don't you do that for me? That might
Okay.
settle this better. I'm trying to imagine how he's.
18.
All right. In that case, you do manage to beat you beat his CMD. So
My acrobatics was a 19, by the way.
okay. So you fire the weapon. The guard jumps and accidentally and just on reflex lets go. And while you're still trying to pin him down, the dust method is able to jerk up, but immediately comes once again face to face with the blade and kind of freezes. Still trying, kind of looking around wildly for an escape, but before he can move again, you, with your acrobatics check of 19, are able to kind of loop him, or able to block his path before he can move again. The guard kind of gives you like a what the heck sort of look, but manages to grab the method again. Okay. You want to talk? You want to talk? The creature in front of you is now starting to very brokenly form words and is glancing at each of you very, very craftily, still trying to find, seeming to still be trying to find some form of escape.
I'd like to try and take up my previous position again. Blade at neck.
Okay. Anyway, what are other people doing? Where are Felix Francis, and I'm gonna say Azalea, and etc.
Felix is probably over there watching.
I don't know. What does Francis do? What else is going on around camp? Yes.
Say again, Francis.
What else is going on around camp?
Well, as you're kind of standing back, you're seeing that most of the civilians or the residents of the settlement are starting to form a small crowd, a good ways back from all of you, because there's been a lot of explosions, and then you realize that there were also a few shrieks and jumps from the crowd that's watching. A couple people had scattered off at the sound of your gun going off.
Alright.
There's a sizable crowd of people starting to come and look, and there's a good number, and you see a number of guards like now starting to run up to create almost a perimeter, blocking off the onlookers, and the few of them are starting to approach your group with the flint.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
So there are people that are actually afraid of a boomstick?
Yeah, kind of. You know,
Because these dust mifflin things or whatever they are didn't seem to be. So I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Andrew. Continue.
Desert Duster Mifflins. I am, I don't know. They got it under control. They're a bunch of burn your face off elves. I'm gonna
Burn your face off, elves.
So I'm gonna come over. I'm gonna start talking to people. I want to start figuring out what lives up in those caves. What lives up by there? What kind of animals they know live up there? What's the ecosystem? How far do the caves go down? Where do they go to? Do they have an exit?
okay. That was like 18 different questions, but I get what you're going for. All right, so all right, so you start asking questions. I'm gonna bounce back to you in a second.
Take your time.
Then, what are you guys doing? You've got this thing pretty well cornered.
I have to disappear for about 2 or 3 minutes. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, I'm annoyed at this thing's attempt to run. So I'm going to try to. Well, first I'm going to try to wrap a rope around its legs.
Okay.
You might want to get the wings too.
The wing. Oh, it's already missing a wing.
Oh, is it?
The one
You're
that was
right.
running away was the one that I
Sorry.
winged.
Thank you.
That is
I
correct.
forgot.
Okay.
And if it tries to run while I'm attempting to get a rope around it, I would like to break its knee.
Hey!
Knee.
Hey, there's a good one.
Yes, Kira's suggestion.
Okay. That would be. I'm
Thank you, sir.
almost tempted to have him run, even though he wouldn't, just because I want to see how you intend to do so.
It's not too
Oh,
hard. If you've got
it's
someone
easy.
that blade on their leg, you just kick them hard right about in the knee and it'll break their knee pretty badly.
See, I know
Or
you
if-
two know that, but I don't know that. Would Then know how to do that, seeing as all he
spent-
does is tinker?
He's spent so much time studying books, he's probably read a book about anatomy.
Yeah,
All
I've read
you
books
do,
about anatomy,
especially
but
if
I
you're
don't know
leaning
how.
down with your arms near their legs, if they try to run, you grab the leg and you just pull like this against the bend of their knee and pop their knee out of socket. It'd take a strength check probably, but
Alright, I'll give it to you.
let's see if he runs from trying to tie him
Also,
up.
aren't dust methods pretty little?
They are small.
Small?
Oh, Tasha. Kira
What?
just said Tasha knows how to mess up a knee.
Thanks, Kira. Why don't we call it out a little? Let's see who keeps trying their best to mess up my knee even more.
Alright. So,
Family rivalries.
Then takes
Kira has
shots fired. Shots
a-
fired, Kira.
a truly
For more than just
impressive
me.
ability to always, whenever I'm sitting on a couch or something, sit on my knee, kick my knee, do a whole lot of things with my bad knee, accidentally, of course, but it's
Yeah, she just said me ...
Alright, so then you managed. You're large enough that you could pretty easily.
back in a few minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
I'd like to
large enough-
effectively hog tie him so his legs go around, his ankles are pulled up behind him, and his wrists are tied to his ankles.
Alright, just make a quick dexterity check.
Straight dex,
Yeah.
16.
Yeah, you very easily and very quickly managed to haul his limbs together, and you're basically holding the little bundle of dust method in your hand.
Just pick him up by the rope, hanging like a pinata.
Yeah, he's hissing and snarling at you very furiously. What you want? What you want?
Information.
Let's go.
I'm gonna start carrying him towards the captain's tent.
He's still thrashing as much as he can.
I'm holding him
making
out like
absolutely-
this. Just by
He's
the rope,
making-
holding him like a pinata.
Okay, he's making no progress, and he's now like trying to twist. I'm assuming you would have thought to, because they have sharp teeth. You figured a way to keep it away from.
Wait, he can bite a rope that's tying his wrists to his ankles behind him?
He's trying. Don't interrupt, fam. Don't
I've
interrupt. I'm
received
giving you
another
this one.
request. I would like to grab a hold of his ankles while holding it and just do this and spin it. And just let him spin from the rope as I walk.
You messed up.
I
Oh,
agree.
You grab him, and as he's spinning, he immediately begins yelping and tries to bite at your hand. I'm gonna make him have to attack roll with disadvantage because this is funny.
He should have to make a constitution save to try to avoid throwing up all over the place.
We'll see. They're hardy creatures. They live in dust storms. So I rolled a 5 and a natural 20, so that's kind of sad. Biting your hand off. That would be funny. Actually, he doesn't have a bite attack, so he's still gonna try anyway. But he misses significantly. But he begins yowling. Stop it! Stop it! Stop! What information? What information? What want? Let go!
We will ask you to share your information in the presence of one who knows what is required. Be calm. And if he keeps hissing and growling at me, I'm gonna gag him.
Okay.
Sorry, what did I miss?
I'm carrying him like a pinata, most specifically a spinning pinata.
Yeah, you missed torture, essentially.
No, I just grabbed a hold of his ankles and spun him as we walked, so he was disoriented.
Yeah. Carrying someone by their ankles behind their back and spinning them after burning them and then gagging them?
Oh, I didn't
Not
successfully
sounding like
burn him.
torture to you?
Episode
I didn't
4.
successfully burn him.
Episode 4. The
Okay.
one where we all go to the Hague.
As you're watching it, like it's getting more and more agitated, and you start blinking. Are your eyes watering? Just the figure of it is starting to shift and fuzz, and you find yourself having a very hard time focusing on its form. As it's doing so, it's still making frustrated shouts and snarls, but it's
Can I
very
poke it with
very
my blade?
hard to focus on. What'd you say?
Can I poke it with my blade and see if that stops?
I
I'm
am
not trying
carrying
to
him to the
impale
captain's
it. I'm
tent
just
right
trying
now.
to be like, you know.
I am carrying him to the captain's tent right now.
You poke him, and but it takes you a couple of tries to actually get it right, just because it keeps looking like he's shifting even in his mostly stationary state. But every time that you manage to poke him, he just yells a little louder, and after a while the effect seems to stop, and it just pants and glares at the both of you. Oh!
Wait, what now?
As you're moving, though, you're mostly ignoring him, so you reach the captain's tent, and this time a female Flynn steps out, and she looks at you. She's very tall and stately, and has a mane tied into a high ponytail. You're searching for the chieftain, no?
We
He's not
are.
here. He's down in the village. We will summon him. What is it that you have found?
We're not
Her hand
entirely
goes to her belt,
sure.
and she removes a dagger and starts pointing it at the dust muffin, and it kind of like.
Don't worry, it's quite harmless in this state. We would like to interrogate
that.
it. It's one of the things that attacked.
I can see that.
What time is it right
This
now?
is-
Out of curiosity.
What'd you say?
It's like 2
What
a.m.
time is it? 2 a.m.?
Yeah, it's like dead middle of the night.
Okay.
I'd like to step into the chieftain's tent and just kind of like hang the rope from the top of one of the tent poles and just lean against the side of the tent.
Okay. The mephit starts thrashing around again as soon as you hang it up in the tent.
I'm gonna keep a same thing. Blade is near it, so if it thrashes too much or if it tries to do anything.
Pinata.
The more you thrash, the tighter the ropes will pull. It will get quite painful.
It finally seems to recognize that its movements are. The fact that you mentioned that it's getting tighter seems to resonate with it, and it's starting to have a harder time struggling against the knots. It kind of glares at you very, very evilly, and finally kind of relaxes a little bit and just resigns itself to kind of slowly spinning in a small circle, glaring at each of you as it kind of sways back and forth. A couple minutes passed by, and is everybody up at the tent, or is it just you two?
Felix was gonna wander over and find Francis.
Francis is walking around Francis is walking around a crowd trying to get as much information as he can about the cave systems.
Yes.
Yeah, Felix is just gonna walk up and be like, I wonder if all elves are that cruel.
Yeah. So, Francis, you found most of the people don't know a whole lot about the cave systems up there. What little common that they speak, they managed to get out. Caves are not good. We do not go near the caves. They are haunted. And you get the general sense that it's not a good place for them to go. One or two managed. You're able to get the sense that from a couple of the people that the guards do go up there from time to time. Which goes along with what the chieftain was saying about them sending scouts to try to figure out where the attacks were coming from. But no one can give you very good information about the cave systems themselves. After a while, you manage to find one of the guards, and he explains to you, yes, we have investigated the caves, and there are several up there. We are trying to definitively determine which ones are habited. In terms of wild animals and such, there are cinder wolves that roam this area. Cinder wolves, yes.
What other kind of
They're specific
animals?
to the desert. What'd you say?
What other kind of animals? What kind of terrain?
It's rocky. Up in the caves, it's rocks. I don't know. It's a mountain.
Do you
Of
know what?
sorts.
Do you know what kind of stone it might be, or anything?
No,
Nah.
I'm not. I don't study rocks. I'm just a fighter. I just protect the people.
All right, cinder wolves. Do I know what a cinder wolf is?
Make it a knowledge nature check.
Knowledge nature.
Doesn't sound like fun, whatever it is.
Well, that's pretty good. Knowledge nature. Why did I not put any skills into it? That's a 15 plus my intelligence, which is perfectly average. 15.
Okay, you've heard a little bit about these just from occasionally being in the proximity of Jabar. And you know that they're common to the desert. It's not any sort of aberration or what have you. It's just it's a wolf that is specific, that seems to have originated in the desert and is kind of acclimated to that sort of climate. You don't know much beyond that,
Okay.
but they're not based on the response of from what you've heard and the response of the people. They seem pretty common.
Okay.
Other than you just
Alright.
don't mess with them.
All right.
But
So, and if I ask the guard, he'll give me pretty much that same.
yes.
Okay.
Well, if you ask the guard specifically about
Yeah, I'll ask him
they'll give
specifically.
a little bit more.
Thanks, Chief.
Mhm.
Um.
They are they're like a wolf, but they're prone to flame in some ways. One time when I was a little boy, I was up I was up in the cliffs and I was playing with my friends and I saw one of the wolves and we started to run away from it, but I guess we looked like easy targets, so one tried to bite us and it burned like a fire. It's as if I had stuck my hand too close to a flame. I still have a small scar from it, but other than that, they're not anything too dangerous, I suppose,
All right.
other than a regular wolf.
All right. All right. And are there easily accessible water sources up there?
There's a very small stream that
Okay.
flows down. It eventually joins into the river on the other side of the encampment, but
All right. A single water source.
it's very small. It's not much.
That helps.
We specifically did not set up our settlement there because of there's very little water and it's a lot harder to get it from up in the cliffs and carry it down as opposed to going just down to the other side.
All right.
Do you have any other questions? I should try to help restore some sort of order tonight. I need.
Yeah. No. No.
Yeah, we'll need better guard. Thank you.
Go get him, boss.
Nods. He nods. You should return to the chieftain's tent. I'm sure that he will want to speak with you, and thank you for your protection of the people.
Oh, you're welcome. It's like my mother used to say. It's you always put your arms around the people you're with, so the people behind you don't have a better shot.
What?
I'm gonna slap him on the back and start walking away.
Ow. He kind of shakes his head and shrugs and wanders back off towards the crowd, which is now starting to disperse since you guys took the object of interest away.
Also, Felix asked me something right before I started talking to the guard. What'd you ask me, Felix?
Felix asked you if you thought all elves were as cruel as those two just were.
I mean,
Wait a minute. How is trying to keep it from escaping cruel?
Felix. You know how we're people and elves are people, but we're not the same people?
Okay.
And so, like, sort of in where our people are, we don't all work the same, but we all kind of ultimately work the same. Like yeah. So like elves are just a little bit different. They don't think about stuff like people do, but they think about other stuff exactly like how people think about it. Like, I don't know. Like
Struggles
elves.
to come up with a reason why we are actually worth like what we're doing.
Like elves and lichens. They hate each other,
Okay.
even though they're both people. But see, they're just different enough people to dislike each other.
Okay.
And see, like, but also the people from Jail Bar and the people from Stereos dislike each other just because they're just different enough to dislike each other.
Right.
But even if we're all the same, we'd still dislike each other.
But okay.
So, no, not all elves are that cruel, but elves do think about things differently than we do.
Ah. Okay.
You're welcome. Their society's different. They don't really have, families and stuff, and they don't believe in, like...
They don't have families?
No, they don't believe in, like, free enterprise and beautiful things like that.
I'm going to use Kira's words here. Least helpful pep talk ever.
I'm gonna slap Francis on the back as we walk towards the chieftain's tent.
Francis.
Slap yourself on the back. Good talk, man. Good talk.
Good talk, buddy. Good talk.
Well done.
I will slap my small friend on the back as we walk, and I will tell him a little bit about more about just the little bit I know about elves, because I live in an area where elves and lichens are always kind of arguing about stuff, and because I'm from Mariel, I'm probably gonna see things a lot more from the lichens' point of view.
Okay.
I'll explain they don't really like each other because elves and lichens are kind of lichens are really into the idea of they're really familial. They're super family oriented. They're very dependent on the tribe, either paternalistic or maternalistic, versus elves who are not.
Dude, are you eating Doritos?
Who?
No,
What are you eating?
I am eating generic off-brand nacho cheese flavored tortilla chips.
Excellent. You do you, man. Okay.
Poor man's Doritos.
Fen and Ven, as you guys are standing there with your captive, a moment later, the tent flap.
You
okay,
okay?
dude?
That's not what just happened.
Ethan started choking.
Ethan's being murdered by a Dorito, by a fake Dorito.
Ethan,
No,
that's
it's
not good
okay.
for your health.
Stop being
Unacceptable.
murdered by your
Choking is not a healthy lifestyle choice. Decapitation is not a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm still working on getting over pneumonia, so
Pneumonia?
Wait, when did you have pneumonia?
last week.
Yeah,
Well,
nice
that
of you to
sucks.
tell us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, Fen and Ven, the tent flap suddenly swings over, or is flung open, and the chieftain stalks back into the tent, kind of glances at the dust mephit. You're able to capture one. Very well. So, you have D&D attacks now?
I thought it might be useful to have you interrogated. You know the information we need the most.
I appreciate that. Although I will say this is not the first time that we have captured one of these things. They are not exactly incredibly intelligent, unfortunately. We have not been able to glean much information, but perhaps this time will be different. Before we interrogate this creature, I first want to tell you that our settlement, our people are incredibly indebted to you for your service and helping to protect them. The guards are competent in some ways, but we are not used to having so many attack at once, and it really was. It was an honor to fight alongside of you. At least that is what they tell me. And I appreciate your willingness to serve us. He nods at the both of you, and his gaze lingers at Van slightly longer. Perhaps I could interest you in. I do not wish to impose, but we could use more people, fighters of your skill, to track down our attackers. And you seem to have good experience with fighting beings of, I don't know, other capabilities, stature, I don't know, whatever the hell these things are supposed to be. It would honor me to have you continue to assist us and to try and protect our people by trying to find whoever is responsible for all of these attacks. He kind of waves his hand a little bit. Would you be willing to stay a little longer?
Probably. I think we might want to check in with the rest of our group.
Yes.
Well,
I will
Our
walk
group.
back. I will walk back over to the hanging dust. What is it? It's a dust what?
Dust
Method.
Mephit?
Yes.
MEPHIT method.
Okay. I'll walk back over to the hanging dust Mephit and pull out like a dagger and put it under the thing's chin and say, although that was not Fenn's voice, that was Ethan's voice cracking.
Although.
Although, with the reactions this one's been giving, I feel like it might be an eradication mission rather than a hunting mission.
Whatever. I will leave it to yours and to your discretion. We do not wish to play host to these creatures anymore, or whoever is sending them to attack us. If you are forced to fight and kill whoever is responsible, that blood is on their hands. They have placed themselves in a position. We are now attacking in self-defense. I see no reason not to hire capable defenders who are able to watch our backs and take care of this problem. We are not provoking attacks, we are defending ourselves and the interests of our people. So, eradication mission it may be. You're authorized, if you so choose, to take on this task. You're welcome to use whatever force you find necessary. If you are also able to recover any possessions belonging to our settlement and bring back whatever you're able to find, that would also be greatly appreciated and equally rewarded.
What are you missing?
Mostly, the raids have not been necessarily to kill or destroy, although one or two of our members have died in the fight where the fire started. Most of what they are taking is valued possessions, gems, artwork, and family possessions, things that are of value. We believe that whoever is running the scheme is trying to just. They don't seem to have any darker motives rather than simply trying to living as a sort of bandit in a sense. Most of the items that have gone missing are ones of value, others that are a lot less, would fetch less of a pretty penny. Most of those are left behind. Basically, if it makes things easier for you, find anything of value and bring it back.
They're offering tribute to a Tarask.
You say this out loud?
No, God, no. This is just Ethan being weird.
Darn it.
Okay, can we have like a rule that every character's conspiracy theories must be stated in husky Ethan voice?
Batman voice, but yeah. I'm down with that.
I wouldn't exactly describe it as husky, but okay.
Ask you what?
You know, well, that's how I'll do it. Husky.
What?
That didn't work.
Husky voice.
Yes.
Insert conspiracy theory here.
We never promised you sanity.
You're all really magical copies of Azalea gone horribly wrong.
That's
Azalea
nasty. No.
Oh my gosh. Azalea's a chain smoker. Well then. Apparently that's how you smoke things. You just blow raspberries at Cheers.
I can see
So
it.
mature, guys.
Just a bunch of old men sitting on a porch with their pipes going.
Anyway.
Oh my word.
So. This creature, where?
Did I miss anything?
I don't know, when did you
All
leave?
conspiracy theories now need to be said in a husky Ethan voice.
Okay. I'm okay with that plan.
Natasha's dying.
I just heard.
Gosh darn it, people, we stop it. Stop it. Stop dying. Stop it right now.
That
You
was
start
my.
speaking, we can't hear you, or at least I can't.
That
Wait,
seems-
what did you say?
What?
Who
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Alright, so so the chieftain backs over to the dust methods. So another one. Where exactly are you? Where did you come from this time? I'm assuming back in the cliffs. The method kind of glares at him and still doesn't speak. It's kind of still like doing this slow rotate from having been spun a couple of times around.
I stop him with the hilt of the dagger.
I'm gonna, sheath my blade and step back. Ben looks somewhat uncomfortable.
Okay. So, you see the position that you are in. Your life is in our hands. You will cooperate with us or you will die. That makes no difference to me whether your blood is shed here. So, you have a chance to cooperate. Your life is in your own hands. Intimidation roll. That was not very good.
Can I assist by holding the dagger against his throat?
Sure. Advantage. That was much better.
Yes.
The dust mephit's eyes kind of widen a little bit. And it shows its teeth. What do you want to know? Any questions? Any questions? It
Have
kinda
I
glances
arrived yet?
at you. Did you say that you were coming over here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would say that you would kind of push your way in. Yes, here are the rest of your companions. So, who or what is employing you? Or these attacks that are far too coordinated. You and I both know that your kind does not hunt in packs. You are loners. So, what has brought you here in such a coordinated fashion? The dust method kind of shifts itself. The jackal. The jackal. It calls us together. We do its bidding. That's what the chieftain looks a little bit confused. The jackal. Do you have any idea what he's talking about?
I think I do.
Yes.
Hi, Francis again.
Yes, I'm
Uh,
aware. What do you mean that you know? What does he mean? Or what does it mean?
During the battle, there was a burst of light, which I believe some of us saw a, a guy with a jackal head.
You mean that was not a hallucination?
I don't
Nah.
know if we all had it.
Yeah.
A man with a jackal head. Sorry.
A jackal man, as we might
Can I-
say.
Can I try and roll a knowledge history to see if I've heard anything in like history about things like that?
Sure.
Jackal men.
I was gonna say somebody should definitely do that.
Famous actor Hugh Jackman.
To me, it just sounds like you're saying huge Ackelman, and I'm trying to figure out what an Ackelman is.
He's got a huge Ackelman, just sounds
Unfortunately-
wrong.
Huge
I only got
Ackelman.
a 12.
12. Okay. You don't know anything about this necessarily historically,
Okay.
but you've heard stories about, creatures that seem to be humanoid. Not like necessarily, not like lichens, but strange creations that are fused animals with humanoid creatures that turned into monsters that sort of ravaged and roamed the forests and haunted mountains of various lands. This sounds like some sort of it sounds like it was like some sort of monster, some sort of conglomerated creature. It doesn't seem like something that you could make up.
Mhm.
There's definitely been stories about it. You're just not necessarily sure what exactly it is.
Okay. Librarian friend would be useful.
That's true.
Where was Azalea?
I would assume that she's with you guys. They didn't tell me anything otherwise. I don't know that she's gonna come tonight, unfortunately. In any case, you know what? I'm gonna have her roll anyway. Does anybody want to roll for Azalea?
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead and make a knowledge history check.
I was gonna
Natural
offer.
Natural 18.
Oh,
I was
nice.
gonna offer, but it was a natural one, so.
Yeah,
We're,
I'm going with Tasha anyway.
we're rolling
Uh,
good tonight, actually.
Roll it first. What'd you say?
We're rolling pretty good tonight.
Except me. I rolled
You-
two
you rolled
natural
well
ones
last
so
night.
far.
Yeah,
Well,
you
not
used up all
at
your
least.
good juju.
I rolled so many nat 20s last night at my 5e session, it's not even funny.
So, Azalea speaks up. Oh, I think I've actually heard of these. My name's Azalea. I work at a library, and I've definitely read about them. It's called a jackal therianthropy. They're
who's he?
a jackal therianthropy. They're these sort of combined animals and humanoids. I don't really know where they come from. It's not like some sort of weird science experiments, but they just are. So it's half jackal and half humanoid. I can't really give much information beyond that, but they're pretty dangerous and they're not they're cunning, they're smart. Um, if that's really what we saw, that's what it most seems like. Couldn't say for sure, but if so, we might be dealing with something it's pretty formidable.
We find it. I'm asking the chieftain. If we find it, are you willing to send guards to come help us?
Yes, of course. Perhaps it would be in your best interest to go your group, perhaps alone. I do not wish to seem cowardly, but our guards can be used here to help restore order, and I do not want to send them against something that they have no sense of. You seem to be good at sneaking around, and you're harder to detect than I expected, and it took our guards our guards seem to have only stumbled across you. I would assume with the expertise that you have that you are able to sneak into the caves and see what you can find without being caught, and then bring back word to us so that we may mount an attack with the appropriate protectors.
I may be able to sneak in, but I'm not sure about the rest of the group.
Why?
You
Why?
guys are all there, so feel free to weigh in.
Why are we wanting to go into the cave with the dangerous jackal monster from Legend?
I was greatly impressed by your skills this evening in helping to protect our people. I would greatly appreciate it, and settlement would be willing to reward you handsomely. To, if you would be willing to go and attack, or clear out, or do whatever it is that you see fit to remove this scourge from our people.
I have a question.
Yes,
You said that you are nomadic normally, yes?
yes,
And you also said that you tend to. So you stated down here for some farming just recently, yes?
yes.
So, so if you're being attacked here by these other creatures that were here, why not just move?
It would seem so simple, but we have not been here for we came here not that recently. This is the first place that we have really settled and been able to start and call it home. Many of the people have enjoyed and been able to make this home enough that they are not interested, at least not for now, in moving on until many of the children that have been born to the families are a little bit older. This is a good place to settle. Well, before the attacks began, which were more recent than our arrival, this has been a good place for us to be. It was well protected, and it has a good connection to resources, and it is not far from the city, such that we can we can what's the word? I'm sorry. Such that we can perform trade and send our goods to the cities very easily.
Oh,
Much of the settlement has voted to stay here, at least for the foreseeable future.
okay.
It has,
Now you must wipe out the local tribe to protect yourself.
we wish to. If it becomes a point, if it comes to the point where nothing can be done about it, then we will be forced to move. But we would rather try and find someone, someone skilled enough to take care. Sorry,
So I was just wondering what the reason for the genocide was.
the reason for our genocide.
For proposing hunting these
Aye.
instead of something else.
I must apologize for butting in, but boy, you must understand this would be less a genocide and more a mercy kill.
Mercy kill?
Maybe I don't understand you clearly, friend. I don't like these critters that much either. I think they seem like bad folks, and these seem like decent enough people. And we have a disappearing lady elf, and just But
Internet totally died. My computer crashed. Did I miss?
Oh, what was the last thing you heard?
Um,
Sorry, I didn't notice that you.
sorry, Chieftain was talking, I think.
Explaining why they
Yeah.
wanted to stay.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, so they decided to stay just because the place that they're at is pretty well protected, other than these attacks, which started a lot more recently. They've been here for a while. They have really good connection to the cities on river, so they're able to conduct trade. That's the word, conduct. I don't know why that froze up. So yeah, so they're trying not to have to keep moving. If they're able to have something take care of the problem before they're forced to move out, then they'd rather do that than pack everybody up. Especially
And
if
after
they
that
have
after that explanation was finished, Felix asked why it was so severe that we were suggesting the genocide of these dust methods.
I will speak up and say I do not necessarily believe that genocide is necessary. I am placing, if you are willing to take on this challenge, then you are willing to use whatever methods you see fit. Because
Often
we
there's
have
an
been
easy way to take care of it without killing people.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
You can quite often just convince people without killing them.
You're welcome to try. I would advise against doing anything incredibly foolish, especially if we are now facing potentially some sort of therianthropy, which your friend has stated is rather dangerous. But provided in what you may use whatever means you see fit, provided that the attacks will be stopped, you will be rewarded regardless. There's no need necessarily for a genocide unless you see fit. And I will say that we have not provoked these attacks by any means. At this point, I believe that we could call it, as I told your friend, as I told Ven here, I believe that we could consider it self-defense because of these continuous attacks and because they have endangered our people in many ways.
Were not the dust methods native here first?
Wait, say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Aren't the dust methods from here first?
They did not show up until about 2 months ago. We have seen them in the past up in the mountains, but they had never attacked us before.
So you say you didn't provoke the attacks, but you came and essentially invaded their lands and settled them and did what you wanted with them, yes?
One could potentially say that. They did not live in the valley, if that makes any difference to you. It was mostly just wild animals down here before we set up tents, and we did not do anything to clear out the area. It just was a conveniently placed valley. We set up tents. Eventually, the wild animals began to move out, and the dust methods were seen from time to time wandering, usually solitary, in the cliffs above, but we have never done anything to really disturb them. The attacks have, as I said, started about 2 months ago. We have been here for over a year.
Felix, one thing you must understand, it is not terribly uncommon for raiding bands to travel to where the prey is greatest. So they may not be natives to these lands. They may just be here for the prey.
Well, in terms of that statement, the dust methods we have encountered in our travels before, they're common to, at least relatively common, to the more mountainous areas of Jalbar. However, as I said before, they're usually solitary, or at least when they travel together, they're extremely chaotic. Usually they come through and steal whatever happens to suit their fancy, not necessarily anything of value, just whatever shiny thing or loud and bangy that's coming through. Occasionally stolen pots and pans, or dishes, or little beads. But they have never been organized. They've never been the type to attack unless they feel threatened. Occasionally, one of the children may throw a stone at it out of fear, and then it may in some way attack. But other than that, in the many years that we have, as nomads, traveled through these lands, they have never been aggressive.
I'd like to turn to the method and ask, what would it take for you to stop attacking? The jackal creature was gone. Would that do it?
Jackal feeds us. Jackal makes us happy. Jackal protects. He is friend. You are not a friend. You attack us.
So what you're saying is you want pot roast.
That's going in the quotes list.
Well, why don't maybe we should, maybe we should do the. What's the thing that my mother used to say? Butcher them with hospitality.
I feel your mother needs training in colloquialisms.
What if you left the jackal and you forged an alliance with the gnolls here?
What?
Flynn's, dear sister, Flynn's.
Yes, forgive me.
Over
Why? Because it would be safer in the long run.
Jackal does not hurt us.
There would be no need to steal from them if you are already with them.
Home cooked meals. Tasty smells, all those tasty smells when you fly by.
I would
That
like to go to
appears
the
be-
I would like to go to the back of the tent where that bottle of alcoholic liquid was. I would like to pour a glass and hold it in front of the dust muffin's mouth.
The
There is
chief
very
is gonna
little-
kind of like raise an eyebrow at you, but he won't stop you. Sorry, Tasha. What?
There appears to be very little this jackal is giving you that the gnolls could not also give you, but it is also requiring you to come and attack, which must be dropping your numbers. So it seems much more logical for you to forge an alliance with the gnolls, who have been. So you don't have to attack. You get the same benefits without having to potentially attack, steal, and get killed. Than to stay with the jackal and continue with this cycle of violence, which will eventually end with many of you dying.
I would like to cast enhanced diplomacy on her while she's saying this.
Oh God.
Okay, you may.
I have a
do so.
charisma of 6, man.
But you're the one talking, so I'm casting
I
it.
know I'm the one talking.
You're also talking. You're talking pretty charismatically. So yeah, you can
It
cast
gives you a
that, and
plus
then
2.
you're gonna have to make a diplomacy check.
What's enhanced diplomacy do?
It gives you a +2 to your diplomacy check.
Oh
And-
good, I'm at 0 now.
And would she have any advantage from
The two of us?
what all the rest of us are saying and the alcohol I'm pouring down his throat?
Since when were you pouring any alcohol down
thought
his
you
throat? Hold up.
I thought you were
Well,
just
I'm
holding
like
it.
I'm holding it in front of his face. You know what I mean.
I honestly didn't. So thank you for clarifying. Andrew, Francis, what are you saying?
No, I was just asking if we get any kind of bonus for, like, if she gets any bonus from us talking a lot about good things
Yeah,
like
you
food.
So take your +2 from enhanced diplomacy because that's a spell effect, but do to also take advantage.
Thank God.
Rolling that one.
No, we've got an 8 and a 5, so we're gonna stick with that 8 there. I can talk logically and charismatically all I want, but it doesn't matter. I tried, guys.
I was trying to be nice to you because I rolled really well, but it also bounced off of a 10. And I seriously think that it stopped its roll, but then I rolled another one and it was still like really high. So
I tried.
it kind of seems to consider this then.
Don't bargain. No bargain. No. Jackal. The jackal protects.
That seems to be a remarkably illogical position.
What's wrong?
I would like to try a little bit of something strange here. It's going to be a little bit of an unorthodox intimidation attempt. I would like to pull my gun out of its holster. I would like to start spinning it across my hands. Set down the glass of alcohol, obviously. And then I'm going to look...
Because I'm still trying to force feed him alcohol.
No. I was holding it up for him to drink from it. I don't know if he actually did, but I wasn't trying to force it to him.
He's not.
I'll take it if he doesn't want it.
Okay, I hand it to Francis. But anyway, I'm spinning the gun across my hands. And I kind of say, well, you realize the Jackal Man won't be able to protect you if he's dead.
Ooh.
I'd like to enhance the effect of this by casting Sun Metal on his gun, which makes it burst into flames that don't harm him.
Ooh.
Yo, okay.
That's cool!
Okay. Hold on. Make an intimidation roll, please. With advantage.
Yes.
Well, you roll better than I did.
Alright, I went absent-minded and went
Oh,
way
wait,
too many times.
actually, before you do that, I just want to know. I'm not going to enforce this. Would Fen be fine with that? Or would he think that something just went horribly wrong with his gun, that it just burst into flames, since he just last used the flame crystal?
No, oh.
But it wouldn't be burning him.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, he wouldn't feel the heat.
Okay.
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on.
I thought it was funny.
I rolled a nat 20 on my wisdom check, so it's an intimidation of 12.
Wait, did you roll an intimidation check? Or what?
So I rolled my intimidation with advantage and got a 19, but then I realized that 19 was cocked, so I rolled again and got a 12. However, I rolled a natural 20 on my wisdom check to see whether or not I would react to the gun being on fire.
Oh, okay.
So it's a 12 intimidation, unfortunately.
With
I like
advantage?
the 19 better.
What?
I like the sounds
With
of the 19
advantage?
better.
Well, so I rolled with advantage, and both of them were cocked, and I was gonna go with it because it was only slightly cocked off of one of the keys on my keyboard, but I decided to just roll them both again,
Okay.
and so I dropped my intimidation by 7.
Okay, so it's 12.
Oh, the pain of honesty.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I love how when we try to solve problems without violence, all our rows go to crap.
But as soon as there's violence, we start rolling really well and just beat the crap out of everything.
I am a man of violence by fate.
I have tried to be peaceful, and the dice are just not working.
Violence it is!
Alright.
This is the way it's supposed to be!
Anyway.
We kill because we care.
As the flames suddenly shoot out of the gun, the dust method at this point kind of jerks back.
Dangerous. Dangerous. It's dangerous. It likes fire.
What, you didn't figure that out before? You know, when it tore your wing off?
Jackal is also strong.
It's still fighting back, but it seems a little bit more unsure. Not necessarily whether it should be in the fight, but just it definitely seems to be doubting that you guys are as weak as he wants to think.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
The raw energy from the Texine crystal, does it leak at all? So, like, would a fire crystal be hot?
I would assume so.
Okay. I'd like to pull the fire crystal out of the gun and touch it to his skin so he knows it's burning hot, and then just stand there and hold it in my fist, actively burning my hand, and say, "So are we, good friend. So are we."
Ooh, that's so cool.
And then put it back in the gun.
Do you have the willpower to do that?
What do you want me to roll?
I'm not gonna make you roll for it. I think you mess with this stuff enough. You know how dangerous your weapons are. You've had them malfunction. You're a tinker. I'm gonna give
No,
that
the
to you.
willpower to hold a burning thing in your hand and not drop it.
I mean, I'm doing this with my left hand, which, as you'll notice, is already covered in burn scars the entire way up. So
I'm gonna give it to that one because
Okay.
We rule a cool in it.
I'm rolling for the I'm going for the cool. Rule of cool. Rule of cool
It's
plus
so
the fact
cool.
that it just makes sense. I mean, you have welders and they hold on to hot stuff all the time.
Okay.
It's not like he's trying to hold a snake that's currently biting him.
Can I ask a question?
No, it's probably more painful than that.
Is the dust method? Is it? Do we know? Is it? Can I possibly tell? Is it a boy or a girl? No,
How would
no.
you like to try and tell?
Pulls loincloth off.
Well,
I gotta take a peek under the hood real quick.
do please.
No, I don't want to
Give
do
it to
that.
a goat.
No, I'm not kidding. I am kidding about looking at the loincloth. That's just creepy. But I am serious about trying to learn if it's a boy or a girl because I would like to address it as such for a particular reason.
It looks like a weird creature. You have no way of necessarily visually telling. It doesn't have boobs.
You can't even make a nature check?
You can certainly try. I'm gonna say it's a disadvantage because you did no idea what this was up until like 10 minutes ago.
Okay. You know what? I think Francis would have the presence of mind to acknowledge that he's about to go and carry on. He's gonna say, I'm gonna take it in a different direction. I'm gonna say, so, Mephit person, do you have a name?
Why?
Gabrielle doesn't want to have to come up with a name.
Because I don't want to offend you by calling you Dust Method or Hey You. I mean, it's pretty rude where I come from. I don't know how we do things up here in the caves, but
Name is for friend. You not friend.
for friend. All right, but let me tell you why I am your friend. I'm gonna pop a squat next to him. All right.
While he's still slightly spinning from a rope.
Yes.
I would say that he's probably come to rest at this point. He might be swinging a little bit because you bumped into him with the crystal.
All right. So the idea of friend, that seems to be a big deal to you. So I'm gonna call you friend. All right, friend. So listen here. There are a bunch of dust methods. All right. There's many of your people. All right. And so I'm assuming there's going to be your old granddaddy methods and little baby methods and methods all over the place.
What you talk about?
I'm coming to the point, son. I'm just kidding. Better imagine that Francis is like 20 years old.
I love the fact that you've played him like consistently, like he's lived 60.
Listen, your people, the families, someday maybe you're going to meet another method, and you're going to have a bunch of little methods, all right? And what do you want? Do you want those methods to be working for a jackal who's probably not going to live that long? But see here, if you come and work with the gnolls, you see, the gnolls, they're a civilization, not a man. And as long as you work with a man, that man can get sick, and that man can die. And that man could step out of a cave and get hit by a falling boulder. Alright? But guess what? Civilizations don't get hit by falling boulders! And as long as you invest in a civilization, I'm gonna hold him still, like tilt him towards me. Invest in civilization, young Mephit, for that will be where your people's hope and your hope ultimately lies. Don't invest in men, invest in ideas.
I'm gonna cast Enhanced Diplomacy on
Okay, Sasha, what is the modifier for a score of 6? It's -2, right?
-2.
Yeah, well, he rolled a 2 for his intelligence check to figure out what the heck you're trying to say. So he's just gonna stare at you and just start growling. So you're welcome. So Felix, seeing this, you're welcome to cast Enhanced Diplomacy, but you get the sense it's probably not going to get you anywhere because he has no idea what's going on.
Kira says, but wait, there's more.
For just for half the price. You can throw
For half the price, you can get 2 civilizations. I would like to turn to Felix and go, young one, you're good with healing, aren't you?
Yes.
Would you care to heal our Mephit friend? here. And when he says friend with great disdain, he looks straight at Francis while he says it.
Yes.
What?
Felix is going to cast Cure Light Wounds on it.
It kind of twitches away from you as you place your hand on it, but it kind of.
What do?
And kind of flaps its wings a little bit as the hole in it begins to kind of heal over. It's definitely not usable right now, but how many points was it?
Light is 1d8 plus your casting modifier.
Yeah. So it is a 9. 9 points.
9 points. Wow. Nice job.
What's your wisdom modifier?
My wisdom modifier is 0.
Wait. So you rolled? Oh, you got an 8.
Yes.
Nice.
Nice.
The force is with you today. All right.
I'm going to tell it. I am healing you because the gods have tried to help me make people better and keep people from dying. And if you don't work with us, then all of your friends and you will die.
Intimidation and diplomacy at the same time.
Yeah, please do. You. Depending on what, I'm assuming you were trying to go for diplomacy, but if you were trying to intimidate a little bit, you're welcome to make an intimidation. Or
Yeah, Felix and intimidation don't go together, so.
Yeah.
Hello?
I'm gonna go with. I was trying to do diplomacy there.
All your friends are gonna die.
Then add +2 to it because you made him feel better.
+2.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that he can heal himself, but that's beside the point.
He can regenerate himself. There is a difference.
What? Yeah, he can get better.
He can better himself by joining us.
Yes, you can.
You
I
can.
love how you guys also kind of were like, oh yeah, you can adopt the civilization of
So that's a
the
24.
It's a what?
24.
Pardon?
Good God, man.
This is the one thing I'm good at: diplomacy.
You should be the guy that's been speaking this entire time.
Exactly!
Except that I'm the child, and I usually let the adults speak first.
So while I'm shaking a method,
Clearly, the adults are incompetent.
the adults are all idiots!
We're just shockingly uncharismatic in one case.
And
Jack
yeah,
kind of
I'm
stares.
going to back up my diplomacy by saying, you don't understand. We will help you. The gods are on our side. And as I'm saying this, I'm going to start glowing very, very, very brightly.
just channeling divine energy through you.
Basically, I can glow like the sun on command.
Nice.
That would come in handy.
I'm gonna
In
do it.
a couple of levels that will blind people when they're near me, but not yet.
I'm gonna do whatever the equivalent of is crossing yourself in this world.
So yeah, I'm just going to look at it like straight in the face as I'm healing it and glowing and be like, the gods are with us and we will help you. You must work with us.
That's really creepy, just saying, but you know, whatever.
Yes, well, the blind oracle tends to be kind of creepy.
So its eyes sort of slowly widen at this.
I not die. Others, they fight. I not fight.
Good.
Okay, translate for Ethan here. Is he saying he's not gonna fight us?
He seems that's the sense that you get.
Okay.
He can't speak for the others, but he's not going to fight.
Do you think you could convince the others?
And kind of shrugs a little bit.
But you will help us by telling us where the others are so we can talk to them as well and help them.
You hurt our friends.
I'm not gonna hurt your friends.
At this point, I would like to lift him off the where he's hanging and untie it from his ankles, but keep his wrists tied, so he can actually stand and speak to us, like a dignified person.
He kind of, as soon as you let him go, he kind of ruffles his wings out.
Maybe. Why not fly away?
Oh, I'm still glowing, by the way. It lasts for a whole minute.
What'd you say?
I'm still glowing. It lasts for a whole minute, and I can't turn it off until the minute's done. So.
Oh, by the way, as soon as he started glowing like that, I pushed the release on my glasses and snapped the sun visors closed.
Why I not fly away?
Well, for one, you clearly can't fly at the moment. For another, and I'm gonna look at Ven and say, keep them busy. And I'm gonna go try to find food for him.
If you fly away now, sure, you might be saved, but what about everybody else who you were? Your friends, your family? Don't you want to try to help them too?
No family.
You could start one.
Licensed dust method counselor.
What?
Family planning.
Francis Folk.
Because if you can help us, if you help us help these people, then in the future, when these people are staying here happily, you can be the one that benefits most from interactions with them. They have much to offer for those who can help them. And if you will help them by telling us how we can stop the rest of the dust methods from destroying them as they are trying, then you will benefit most of anyone.
Can I make a sense motive check on this guy to see if I can figure out at all what motivates him? What seems to be the driving force behind what gets him going in the mornings the most? Can I try that?
Felix or the dust method?
The duff method.
No, you, Francis.
The answer's
Okay.
clearly pot roast.
Yeah.
Do you want me to roll a diplomacy for what I just said?
No, I'm gonna let yours carry over because it was really
That's
high.
a 16.
Okay. It's kind of hard to piece it out just because of the language barrier and because he is being cagey, but you honestly feel like he's more of a loner than anything else. He seems to have gravitated towards the jackal because there was guaranteed protection, and he's small. He seems easily defeated. It seems more of a protective move than anything else.
Okay.
But you don't get necessarily a sense that he's that invested in the others.
Even just ignoring others who you could help, you have so many benefits if you stay here and you help the Flint. Think of what it could bring you, even greater safety. Look at all the people in this encampment who could help protect, as opposed to just the one jackal guy.
They not like us.
They not like you because you're attacking them. If you were to work with them, they might like you much better.
Maybe.
You won't know until you try.
By the way, I was trying to find any of the roast meats or anything that we had from
Pot roast!
yeah, from the night before to see if there was anything left to come back and let him taste of what he could receive, basically.
You eventually ask one of you go back outside the tent and you find the woman, the female Flynn that first greeted you when you guys came with the dust method, and she leads you a little ways away to another to another tent where there's a hole buried in the ground, and inside of it you find like there are piles and piles of salt and what appears to be just strips of meat now like wrapped in the salt, slowly being preserved. This is the best that I can offer you. I don't know if it would help, but
Well, the person that will be eating it probably has tasted nothing better than this in his life, so I say it's probably good enough. I thank you.
of course. So you go and she hands you a couple strips, and I'm assuming you go straight back.
Yes.
Alright. So the dust Muffet.
Muffet. Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet. Can I get him a tuffet to sit on?
Change the order of meat to Curson Way.
Exactly. I expect there to be a full rewriting of that by the end of the session. By the way.
Yes.
Giving her yogurt and cheese, basically.
All right. So
We don't want to kill him. Why are we giving him yogurt?
so you hand him, or it. I don't know why I keep saying him.
You're assuming it's pronouns.
Honey, we're live, okay? You hand it the strip of meat, and it kind of nibbles a little bit curiously at it. Its eyes kind of widen, and it gobbles half of it down, then slows down, just kind of realizing that there doesn't seem to be much more.
There's more where that came from if you join us.
The chief kind of chuckles a little bit and leans over to you. I like that you have sort of assumed that we're willing to host these creatures.
I'm going to take him to the side and to speak to him privately. And I'm going to say, don't you think they would make excellent sentries?
Perhaps. However, they're extremely unorganized generally.
Well, clearly they can be organized based on leadership. Look at what they've done.
Make a good point.
As long as you are willing to feed them, I imagine they would be quite useful in encampments around the city.
I shall see what we negotiate. Perhaps you should. Your plan seems solid. Have it lead you to the other. However, I cannot necessarily speak for the response of our people. They may not trust these things. Despite not having poor experiences with them in the past, I do not know how well it will sit with them to play host to them. I cannot promise that once you are gone, once your influence has left, that they will be treated so favorably by the people. I and the other guards can do our best. But the people, that is more of their own prerogative.
Well, all of this is based on the assumption that our mission to find the rest does not, in fact, turn into an eradication mission, like I had said.
As I said, I trust your judgment.
How,
You kind of nod and step back into the shadows a little bit more.
how private was that side conversation?
I mean,
it was in the same small tent as you, but hushed voices.
if you're actively trying to hear them, make a perception check.
Sure.
Nope, I don't.
Oh, that's pretty good for me. That's a 9. Sorry, that's a 16 for me.
Ethan, were you trying to
I was trying to avoid the dust method hearing, so I imagine it would be kind of hushed. So should I make a stealth roll on that?
Nah.
Yeah, might as well.
Oh.
Okay.
What are you going for?
That's a 14 on stealth.
Alright, yeah. So, you would hear, Francis, sorry, I keep it's not that I don't remember your name. It's just I keep mixing you and Felix up. Francis, yeah, you would have overheard.
Okay.
Were you trying to do something, or just?
He just probably wanted to be privy to the same information I was making the chieftain available.
I was just trying to think about. I just wanted to hear what he was saying. That's
Okay.
really all. Because based on what he just said, Francis has a plan.
Okay. All right. All right. So for now, the dust method is kind of just quietly chewing on the little strip of meat, and he doesn't speak for a long time. And finally, it looks up. I helped find them.
Wonderful.
I'd like to
We start in the morning.
What'd you say?
I'd like to sense motive that just in case.
Go for it.
17.
I definitely would not.
Okay. Then you get the sense he doesn't seem to be lying. He just seems kind of resigned, and he said that his silence previously seems to have been him thinking over everything that you said.
Including the inane rambling of Francis.
Yeah, trust me, he gave up on Francis' rambling a long time ago. He was so confused he doesn't remember like half of what was. It was just like.
He's an
You're
adult
describing
with
Andrew
Charlie
at this
Brown.
Yeah, basically.
Gosh, those guys.
Always liked Charlie Brown. Now you can be a Charlie Brown parent.
Well, as soon as he says that, that's the plan, and what's your name again, Ethan?
Fenmir.
Fenmir says that we'll start in the morning, and I stop glowing. Very exhausted, and leave to go to sleep.
How much sleep did we get for this whole mess?
Who was? Sorry, I'm now losing details. Did anyone go through a full watch without seeing anyone? I thought it was on the third round of somebody's watch.
We were on the second watch.
Oh, you were on the second watch. Okay.
Yeah.
So, 5 hours, I would say.
Okay, so the elves are good for sleep, right?
Yes, the rest of you should try and go to sleep.
Yeah.
I definitely need to go to sleep.
I think
I've expended way too many spells.
yeah, they need to sleep. I think I may try to see if I can. I want to check the area near the caves. Look for tracks, look for traps, anything.
Why don't I go with you?
Probably because you're human and you need to sleep.
I'll go with you.
In this case, I think it may be best for me to go alone. In case they have sentries out. I hate to say it then, but you're not nearly as stealthy as I am.
Well, I wonder where you learned that.
I can tell you tomorrow if you'd like.
Okay. I'll stay up and
now
keep
if
an
you'd
eye.
like.
I will stay up and keep an eye on our friend. Just kind of like I'm gonna give him what's left of the meat that I was holding, and just kind of like take the rope that was tying his hands together and tie his hands back together with the rope going around one of the tent posts near our tents, and just kind of sit there and play with my gun and like keep tinkering on it while I'm watching him.
Okay.
2 things. Can I just ask then while she's out to keep special note of the terrain, animal tracks, and food and water sources? Just try and get it. Just to try and get an idea where like the methods might go when they're up there, where they might congregate, and then whenever I can get a chance to talk to Fen, I might.
I'll do what I can, Francis. Does anybody know what methods generally eat?
Am I there for that?
This conversation, yeah, presumably.
Well, clearly they enjoy their meats.
Yep, no shit. They must eat something else too. No, not necessarily. They could be.
It could be
They
carnivores.
could be obligate carnivores.
They need water
What
at
do you
least.
usually eat?
Meat, berries, the cactus leaves.
Yucca! That was Ethan. That was Ethan, not Dunmere. I'm sorry.
Okay then. But especially meat.
And it kind of grins at you.
Wait, what did it say?
But especially meat.
And it kind of grins at you a little bit savagely.
Picks a little bit of meat out of its teeth.
Oh yes, meat is very tasty.
Especially Mifflin meat. Mifflin meat.
Mifflin meat.
Mifflin,
Dunder Mifflin.
Mifflin meat.
Desert Mifflin or desert muffin.
what?
Desert.
Desert muffin. Desert muffin.
Dirt Muppet.
Is that Miss Piggy's dirty cousin?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You can take a pig out of the mud, but you can't take the mud out of the pig. What?
Ooh,
No, I think it would, in that case it would be the opposite. You take the mud off the pig, but you can't. Wait, no.
you can't take the pig off the
You can
mud?
take the pig out of the mud, but you can't take the pig out of the pig.
Okay.
Alright, so people who are trying to have conversations before going to bed.
I'm actually Ethan. I'm gonna send you the idea I have later.
Okay.
We can talk about that privately. But
Okay.
as soon as I kind of like give you this idea real quick, I will head off to bed.
Can I listen in on this conversation at all?
What did you say?
I was waiting till you left.
Oh, okay. That's not shade or anything. Sorry.
Okay. Alright, anybody else doing anything anymore?
Just when Francis goes into the tent, Felix is like curled up in a ball on the far side of the tent in like whatever corner he can possibly find.
Does the kid have a blanket or anything?
No, I mean, assume they gave us a blanket of some kind if it gets cold.
I would assume that there were
Yeah.
a couple of woven.
No, no, off the table, Lewis. Off the table.
Is cat butt on the table? I want to see cat butt on the table.
Off the table, love. Sorry.
How
I'll,
could you yell at your cat?
I'll throw a blanket over him and then I'll go to sleep myself on the opposite side of the tent.
Alright.
I'm gonna take out some dominoes and like start trying to teach the method some games with the dominoes.
Are you just sitting outside?
Yeah, I'm just sitting outside the tent, continuing my third watch, and because like I don't need any more sleep. I already slept for 4 hours. So I'm gonna just kind of like start
Lewis,
trying to be more
no.
friendly with him, ask him what his name is, that sort of thing, and just try and teach him some games.
Alrighty. So you guys kind of mess around. You play with dominoes. It seems kind of confused by the concept of it. They have a very low intelligence, so it takes a lot of explaining to figure out for it to really understand what it's supposed to do. But after a while, it seems to be kind of getting the hang of it. It loses every single time, but every time it wants to go again.
And I'll let it win every once in a while, just to keep it interested. Does it tell me a name?
It does not. Also, did we just copy that one scene from Endgame with Blue Meanie and Stark?
What?
The scene with the football, with the paper football. Did you see it?
Oh, yeah. it's Tony Stark and Nebula playing tabletop football.
I would like to try again. Okay, alright.
Is this just because Gabrielle doesn't want to come up with a name?
No, just it's cagey and it doesn't know you.
Kira is saying that I didn't sleep. But if I took second watch, then I got at least 3 hours of sleep.
She said Francis had second.
I was catnapping, and I do remember taking second watch. I was intentionally trying to catnap. I don't know what that does for my.
I thought it was
Body
Francis
clock.
and I together doing the second watch.
I'm only copying what she messaged me.
Because I remember very clearly that I was the one that noticed the incoming
You were,
methods
yeah.
and woke up
Louis,
Ben.
no! Off the table!
I don't remember anybody
Louis?
saying a double watch, so if anything, I'm pretty sure I remember Fen being the one who alerted people. Francis, I didn't you take first watch?
I slept at the entrance to the tent. Remember, I slept at the entrance.
Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're on watch. If you're sleeping at the entrance of the tent, then you're asleep.
I was trying to. Let me check my notes.
I don't remember
He was like sitting at the he was like sleeping for 5 minutes, waking up for 10 minutes, sleeping for 5 minutes type thing.
Yeah, that's the thanks,
That's
Ethan.
not gonna count as a long rest. Just FYI, so you definitely need to
Now I do. Yeah.
stay asleep. Who took first watch then?
I had third,
Not Felix.
but I guess
Felix on watch would be fairly pointless.
Maybe me. Maybe I was the first watch. Come to think of it.
So Kira is saying that I took first watch, and that the methods coming in was at the end of me as first watch.
Oh,
That's
okay.
honestly what I thought. I
Yeah,
don't
that seems to
remember-
be right.
that was my recollection. I kind of left that. Maybe I should be keeping more track of that. But yeah, if you guys can, especially when it comes to sleeping, because that is gonna determine.
so if that's the case, we got what? 3 hours?
Yeah,
yeah,
out there.
that'd be
And
perfect.
me
I'm gonna-
less.
Take the rest of my nap before I try to go investigate and hopefully not get myself killed horribly trying to make life easier for
So
future.
for the elves, do you need to sleep for 4 hours consecutively?
I would imagine
Alright.
not.
That seems.
Because like if you have to sleep 8 hours consecutively to get a long rest for humans,
And
then
you couldn't take
you
a
could
watch.
never have watch for an all human party.
That's fair. All right. I will allow that. All right. All right. So those of you who are going, so you guys are going to sleep. So is everybody asleep? Just so I'm tracking properly.
I'll stay awake to do what I've already role played with playing the games and everything for like an hour or two, and then I'll take the rest of my rest.
Okay.
I'll take my rest now so
Right.
that I can try and be back when people are up again. Not wasting everyone's time while I try and scout.
Okay. So for reference, by the time you guys get to sleep, I'm gonna say it's about 3:30, almost 4. All right. Everybody else being asleep, I'm gonna say that they posted a guard so that you guys could like actually rest and not have to have somebody on watch. All right. In that case, I would like everyone except for Tasha, please pop stuff, headphones out, scoot your butts.
Everybody except Tasha.
Real quick before I do, can I ask to the collective pair of GMs, did we decide that my crystals recharged after a long rest?
I believe I said that. I believe we determined that at some point, and that they have a limited number of recharges. I would need to pull that up. I think it's in one of my documents.
Okay, because if they don't recharge, I'm basically out of ammo, because you said I only had 5 crystals.
Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure we said that they had a limited number of recharges.
I can give you a stick and light it on fire.
It's not quite the same as a magical firearm, but okay, thank you. Alright, my headphones are coming off.
Arms, and it would be magically on fire.
Now, you're not using headphones, correct?
Right.
So can you mute your audio or
Yeah.
like mute us? Cool. Everybody gone? Everybody gone?
Anybody
Great.
there to watch my inevitable demise?
Well, I mean, yeah. Either way, at some point they're gonna have to pop the headphones out. All right. So you wake up just before 5 in the morning. By the time that you rise, the darkness of the sky is just beginning to slightly lighten.
All right.
Um, there's very little. There's very little noise. The encampment is completely silent. The only noise that you really hear is the occasional shifting of feet from the guard just outside.
I will head out the doors. I'm gonna say to the guard, I headed out to try and scout to see what I can figure out before everybody else gets up. If you hear screaming, please send people after me.
Are you sure you would not like someone to accompany you?
In this case, I'm not entirely certain that they won't have posted sentries, so I'm going to try not to be seen. I think likely I am more adept at that than anybody in this encampment, so I appreciate the offer.
I see. We will send. We will, as you have requested, we will send someone.
I start
However, we
screaming.
cannot guarantee because you are alone. We cannot guarantee your safety completely.
I know.
He nods and steps back and allows you to pass.
Okay, I will go creep out to the caves. I will, as Francis requested, take note of food, water, tracks, etc.
Okay.
And I will stealth off towards the caves. I am looking for sentries. I am looking for tracks.
Okay. Go ahead and make either perception or survival to be looking for tracks, especially.
That's a 16 on perception. And do you need stealth as well?
Yeah, if you're stealthing, please do roll stealth check.
That's not fabulous. That's only a 16.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Okay.
So 15 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just want to make sure I have all my stuff up. All right. So you head out up into the caves, or up into past the rest of the encampment, and you find yourself wandering into the mountainous area, going towards where the map showed the caves to be.
Lois? Stop it. Lois. All right, sorry. Go ahead. He's feeling frisky tonight.
Fine.
Oh, yeah, you get that, Mousy. You get him.
So you find yourself standing among the rocks, and there aren't too many footsteps. You see you see the tracks would appear to match, from what you can tell, that of the other dust methods.
Anything that might look like the jackal?
You keep looking around, and you think you might see something that looks a little bit humanoid. You're looking specifically for jackal. You don't find anything jackal.
Oh yeah, humanoid that doesn't look like the dust methods, basically.
You do see what appears to be the occasional boot print, but it's hard to tell exactly where they're going. A lot of the wind and driving, a lot of the wind up here has driven anything consistent out of the sand at this point. They do seem to be going. What little bit you see, those seem to kind of fit where it was before. You see a couple prints near where you guys saw it standing last night, and then a few that seem to be moving away from that point back towards the caves, but the rest is a little bit there's too much indistinct movement of the sand to really track exactly where it went.
Okay.
as you're going, you do see briefly you see what looks to be definitely not a jackal or anything, but it appears to be some sort of wolf a good distance away, standing on top of one of the larger boulders. It it seems to almost lock eyes with you, and then sort of bounds off into the distance without making any move toward you. Disappears further into the caves.
All right.
Yes.
No, just keep going.
Okay.
That wasn't.
As
I
you're-
noticed. All right. Yay.
Yeah. As you're continuing to walk, you're looking around, and most of what's up here is just arid plants. There's more cacti. You do notice that a couple of them look as if they've been snapped off, like the different fruits. They appear to have been harvested. And some
Any
of them.
pattern?
What'd you say?
Any pattern for the harvesting?
You notice most of the ones that are closer to the settlement appear to have been like mostly pretty much pit clean. Some of the ones as you're traveling further out into towards the caves are still haven't been picked off, but the ones that have been picked off closer to the caves don't appear to have been broken off cleanly. It looks like somebody kind of like yanked it off, as opposed to necessarily like the ones closer to the settlement look like they were like somebody took a blade and popped them off like that.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
my English is not Englishing. So that's the only pattern you really notice. And there's definitely fewer of the cacti that have been harvested, so it doesn't look like it's necessarily for a ton of people. So you do all that, and as you're going, you hear the gentle swish of a tail, and you see another wolf bounding away from you, but it doesn't seem to be moving the same way that the other one did. The other one seemed to like move a little bit more leisurely. This one appears to have been startled. And as you're going,
Does it appear to have noticed me?
if it did, it doesn't seem to be paying much attention.
So something else may have started.
You would guess so.
Okay. Can I look around for said source of startlement?
You don't see anything immediately, but there's something seems a little bit off, and you get the sense that you're not quite alone.
Okay.
I'm gonna have your other perception check hold. You suddenly feel a cold blade at the back of your neck.
No perception check, is it?
I'm gonna have you keep your perception check from before. Well then, instead of Emma. You definitely don't seem to have really picked up too many extra perception skills, have you?
Unfortunately, being unconscious tends to make that a little difficult. I like to turn around.
You see standing before you someone you haven't met this time. You feel like you may somewhere in the recesses of your memory, it seems that you may have encountered them at one point specifically during your training. They look vaguely familiar, but you don't think that you've interacted with them specifically. He is a middle-aged human male with graying hair pulled up into a ponytail that kind of lays down his back. It's not super long, but there are several silver hairs that are woven through the gray. His hood is down. He's holding what appears to be a short sword against your neck, a good distance away from you, as you know is a little bit safer than trying to sneak up on an assassin with just a dagger.
I am not an assassin.
By who has his attack skills. That's a good point. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try and roll this faster. I feel like I'm taking too long. He kind of he kind of looks over you. There's a very thin scar along his cheekbone. And he kind of glances over you. So, where have you been? Where have you been?
That is a really good question. First of all, who are you?
I'm one of the superiors. My name is unimportant. Most
And
likely,
who is he? What you are?
I'm one of your superiors. My name is unimportant. Most
A
likely,
human.
meeting.
A superior in the elven units.
You'd be surprised.
Clearly.
It is unnecessary for you.
I'd like, just because it's me and I'm paranoid, I'm sense motivating that he's one of my superiors.
Go for it.
14.
You get the sense that he might not be being completely honest. He might have some sort of higher ranking, but there's something about that that doesn't sit right. You're correct. The rectory is mostly elves, and generally, if they hire anyone else that isn't an elf, it's in some sort of throwaway. It's someone who's a little bit more expendable.
Would there be like a code phrase that we would know for contacts?
You can try. You know, I'm gonna let you make something up.
No, like, would there be something that both parties would have to know, like a phrase that I would initiate and they'd have to have the right answer to in order for this to work?
Didn't think about that, but now I am.
I mean, it would seem logical to me.
You know, where the sun sets is where the blades cross.
Is what I would say or what they would say?
So you would say where the sun sets, and they would finish with is.
I don't suppose you've been where the sun sets.
He kind of grins. It is where the blades cross.
Okay.
Being gone for a month hasn't wiped your memory completely.
Well, it's wiped everything that happened. What was the last? I assume that I just vanish? Or have I been around for a month and they just wiped my memory of it?
We have found you incredibly difficult to keep track of the past month. You did not vanish. Every once in a while, you would be seen popping up in different corners of the nation, but you've been a lot harder to keep track of.
Where have I been?
I'm sorry?
Where have I been? What
Mostly
corners?
in Java, occasionally going across up to Stereos. You've mostly operated within the bounds of where your assignments have been. However, there have been multiple points where you have seemingly deviated from your course within those. You stopped going to some. You would go to newer locations, places that didn't really make sense, places that were more remote, that your targets wouldn't really have any reason to frequent. Any explanation for your excursions and extracurricular activities?
Well, if I could remember it, I'd tell you. But having a big gaping month-long gap in my memory is a bit of a problem to try and explain what exactly was going on during that time.
I see.
It seems to have happened not just to me.
What do you mean?
There are others, including my brother. He might be an easier person to try and keep track of since he spends most of his time in a lab.
Fenrir. No one has heard from Fenrir for, well, far longer since you began to show some sort of erratic behavior. He was not exactly one that we were keeping much of an eye on, particularly seeing as he's been in his laboratory for so long, but every once in a while we would check in on him just to see if he has shown any sort of talents that the rectory can make use of. His tinkering, now that is something that we might try and corner at some point, but That is for us to know about, and you to probably never find out.
Don't be so sure.
What is
After
it?
all, isn't finding things out my job?
Not from us, it's not. So what are you doing here? Exactly. Why did you not immediately, as soon as you woke up, why am I finding you here as opposed to trying to... Why did you not try and resume your post in Java?
Mostly because I had no idea where I was. And there was an incoming, shall we say, difficult. Things have been a little out of hand.
According to you, you've barely been awake for less. You've been awake for less than 24 hours. I can't imagine that there's that much going on.
Clearly, you're a little bit out of date with your information then.
Is that so?
Hmm.
Do enlighten me.
There seems to be a form of disturbance here.
What?
We may stay long enough to try to take care of it. It will help establish contacts in the area.
May I remind you, Savannah, that you are not your own independent agent.
No,
You have a duty.
I do
To
have
the
a
rectory.
duty.
You have a job.
I do. But in this case, this would benefit the rectory. You want information on the war? These are people who are within Jalbar and who have to help fight it. These are contacts to work through.
You have 2 days. 2 days to make this worthwhile, and then we expect to find you back at your post. Any sort of deviation, you will have to find some sort of explanation for. Whether the rest of us are willing to extend your leave of absence, as it seems to have become, that is for us to
Not by
determine.
my choice, believe me.
In any case, Savannah,
And at any rate, I think
remember
it
who
may be
you
useful to
are.
try and figure out exactly what's going on, lest other people start vanishing like I did.
Yes, well, seeing as you are the one where this seems to have started, you are the first of our agents to experience this, I can't exactly determine that you are the most reliable source of that information, or the best person to try and figure out what's going on, seeing as you seem to be susceptible to it, while no one else is. We will
Except the
determine
other 6 people it seems to have affected around here.
none of
5.
whom are also connected to the rectory.
Most pity. Some of them seem to be interesting folk, though. Ties to the Black Jungle, royalty.
And perhaps it would do us some good for you to talk to her, find out some information. The 2 days still stands until you hear further from us.
Understood. Believe me, I'd like to be back doing my normal job. Having to deal with these complications makes life a little more difficult.
Life may remain difficult. Agents spies who suddenly disappear and begin to show erratic behavior are not exactly seen terribly favorably by the rector. You will most certainly be watched. You will be provided with at least the faces of those who are keeping an eye on you, so that you may not start to think that you're being double-crossed or what have you. But this is not being taken lightly by the rectory. I suggest that you stick to what you know, stick to who you know, and not get yourself in further trouble. And of course,
I'll do what I can. Do you happen to have any idea of what kind of force could wipe somebody's memory for an extended period of time, or be able to transport them around without them knowing?
it's not my department. But if
I
we hear
can't hear you,
anything,
sorry.
not my department. But if we happen to hear anything or figure anything out, we'll be sure to let you know.
Appreciate that. It's a little hard to do my job knowing that I could be compromised by somebody else like that.
Well, complain to the deities. That's my best guess. In any case, keep in touch. Don't get yourself killed dealing with your situation. My, you have become quite the philanthropist, haven't you?
Philanthropist.
Well, you seem to be carrying on and caring for whatever little village pops into your path.
Oh, please, like I give a damn about what happens to these people. Gain their
Then
trust
resume
and
your
use them, just like you were taught.
Then resume your post immediately. Let someone who's actually qualified for this low level of work actually take care of it. Nobody needs a highly trained spy to find out war information from the locally local. Literally anyone could be employed to do this. You are needed elsewhere. You're a good spy, Savannah, and I don't hand out compliments lightly.
Sense motive. What is he? Is he trying to work me here?
Go
What's...
for it.
Oh, first thing he says. Ooh, 20.
Okay. Natural or non-natural? Just like
Not natural.
He's kind of hard to read in some aspects, but he doesn't really seem to be trying to lie to you. You would know relatively. You would know from your interactions, especially with your training, that you were highly regarded by the rectory. There was a reason why they chose you so early on, and there was a reason why they decided to put you in one of the current largest hotbeds of information in the orbital Shelfar and Stereos. You're not you may not be, the James Bond of the organization. They're certainly not going to respect you that much, but you've always gotten the sense that they see you as not just an amateur. You're definitely not an amateur, and you're probably better than intermediate.
Alright. Let me see what I can pry out of all these people in the next 2 days. Then we'll check it again. Like you said.
Keep in contact.
I
If
will.
by some miracle they appear to be of actual use, perhaps.
I think with the right amount of time, it's definitely possible. If I could certainly get them fixing our problems in other places. Present the information in the right way. Some of them seem very dedicated to help people.
Perhaps there is hope for them after
A few
all.
days, might be able to gain their trust a little bit more. And then we might be able to put them to work for us without them realizing it. After all, I just want what's best for our nation.
Of course. I'll give you 4 days.
Very well.
Keep in contact continuously.
How often?
At least once a day. Or anytime that you find anything new. Don't send me any fluff reports. I've been dealing with these for far too long.
Do you know anything about... I don't remember what the name of the creature with the jackal head was, but... that creature.
Jackal.
Yes.
I've heard about them in stories. I've never come across one myself.
Appears to be a potential driving force with this conflict.
I highly doubt that it has anything to do with it, that it has any sort of impact on anything that we have an interest in.
I can't hear you.
I highly doubt that it has any sort of bearing on anything that we have an interest in, so if you can, stay away from it. If you must engage it, be careful. They like to bite, I would assume.
That's what allies are for. To get bitten for you.
That's true. As I said, keep in contact. We'll give you updates as we see fit, but the moment you deviate from anything that you have told me, believe me, the rectory will turn on you as fast as you can blink.
And it's a good thing that I haven't been lying.
Not so far. Very well. He kind of throws his hood back over his head and begins stalking off back into the caves. Back towards the caves and wanders away. By now, it's the sun is starting to definitely peak above the horizon.
Okay. No sentries, no traps.
Not that you're seeing.
Alright. Any tracks of his that I need to obscure?
You do see a couple of boot prints. As he's walking away, you do notice that he's kind of dragging his cloak behind him and kind of obscuring them as he goes.
All right.
All right. So you are now, to the best of your knowledge, alone.
All right. I have checked for spies, sentries. I've checked for trapped sentries. I've marked locations of water, food, etc.
Yep.
I believe I've done what I said I would.
You have indeed.
And I'll head back
Oh,
again.
yeah, I forgot to mention the stream. Yeah. You do see it didn't take you long, but near, not too far from where, like, the cactuses were, there was a stream that you saw, like, heading back towards, back downstream towards where you guys were picked up earlier on. Or where you guys found each other. It's definitely the same stream that flows into, like, the pool and goes from there into the river.
Mhm.
All right. Anything
All right.
else you want?
I think for now, I think we've monopolized time enough.
I know. I feel like
So.
that too. That took way too long. All right. Cool.
Bring the boys back.
What year is it?
Sorry.
Actually, hold on. I don't have any audio from you.
Me?
What?
Who? What?
You all hear us?
Yes.
Hello.
Guys?
Can you hear us, Andrew?
I haven't. Oh, no one. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I turned down the volume.
I can hear you guys.
Noah, are you back?
Yeah. Is Noah alive?
He's breathing.
He's breathing, but I'm not sure his audio is back on, and he's currently muted.
He might be sleeping.
With his eyes open?
Oh. I mean, that's a thing that people do sometimes.
Hello?
Yay!
Hi! Sorry, that was a somewhat more eventful trip than I expected.
You good?
So, should we be updated? Like, have you gotten back? What's going on now?
Yeah, I'm getting back.
Okay.
There were some wolf issues.
Are you getting back looking beaten up?
No.
Okay.
So you guys get
Check his brother mode.
when you guys wake up it's about 6 a.m. You're hearing some bustle from the guards and from some of the other tents, and you wake to find Ven kind of standing in the encampment. She appears to have just returned from her scouting mission.
I'm right up to Francis. Batteries by a lot of the caves appear to have been snapped off. Didn't really see any signs of recent kills. There are definitely wolves in the area. I saw a few of them. The stream that it looks like we ran into near the desert comes down towards the caves. To everybody, it took a while because there was some issues with the wolves, but sort of left me on a wild goose chase for a little. But I didn't see any sentries or traps by the cave. I think I may have found some tracks from the jackal creature.
Are you
Wonderful.
just saying that, or sorry, I couldn't tell if that was like an implied question.
No, that was it. Yeah, I know I saw tracks from the jackal creature.
Alright. So
We might be able to follow them a little better.
Well, now that we feel more rested,
What time is it about?
In game or out of game?
In game.
In game, it's about 6 a.m. Out of game, it is about 11. So I'm gonna go a little bit extra. I'm gonna go for a little bit longer. But
Okay.
then we're gonna...
So you marched up to a sleeping Francis.
Wake up, Francis! You tell you things.
Wolf tracks.
Cool. Amari's gonna kind of poke her head out of the tent. Goodness, it's cold in here. It's not very. It's very dry. How long have you all been up?
I was out scouting. We don't need quite as much sleep as humans do.
I wasn't.
Hey, so are we going? What is the plan for today?
Well, a wonderful idea was presented to me last night by our wonderful verbose friend here. Francis, would
Which
you like
one?
to share your concepts?
Oh, that one. Yes, he does talk quite a bit.
Thank you, Zenmir.
Clearly, so do you. Allow him to present his idea, please.
Listen, okay, that's a little bit insulting. Also, where's my cat? Hi.
Stuko?
And it is at this moment that Gabrielle's invisible person starts playing with her invisible cat. Imaginary, not invisible, imaginary.
not not to step on anybody's toes, but it
My
seems
toes are over here.
and lovely toes they are, madam.
So what is the plan? What are we doing?
All right. Well, this may not be the plan, but I have an plan.
That's incorrect.
It would be a plan, Francis.
We look at that. We connected on something. We both said that he was wrong. You are not the worst person that you keep thinking you are.
I don't think myself to be the worst.
Well, you're not as terrible of a person as everybody keeps acting like, or at least that's your sister says. See,
I did not say he was a terrible person. I never even implied it. I'm very fond of my brother.
you guys have
Clearly.
been fighting ever since you arrived.
Look, just because we're fighting, we're siblings. What did you expect?
That's fair.
Well, many things that were not caught, but
I mean, I ran away from my siblings.
That's terrible.
yes, well, you have that in common with one of us here.
Dang!
Then tell me when you want the explanation, and I'll give it to you.
Well, I do not want what you are unwilling to give.
I'm not unwilling to give it. You deserve it.
Wait, what are we supposed to be listening to what Francis
Francis,
said? But I
please.
definitely I want to hear about the family story. That sounds interesting.
I'll make it quick. I was just gonna say that maybe the way to kill these things is with kindness. We don't kill them with kindness. Instead, we bring little gifts of food and drink up into the mountains, the places where they gather. Can't be easy to get food up there, and whatever we're bringing up there has got to be better than whatever Jackal Boy has. All right, so we draw them away, we get them away, and I don't know if we just keep drawing them further and further away, or maybe we drug some of it, or we try and wait with the food to parlay with the little fellers, and then perchance we can all get them away from the jackal, so we're just fighting the jackal and not all the dust mephits. And then we kill the jackal, and so we start to get them on their side a little bit before we kill the jackal. And then once the jackal's out of the picture, well, we just became the biggest honchos in the area. They're going to want to come to us for protection.
So we're basically just luring away the methods, and then we are going to kill the leader, and then they force them to come to us. Is that what you're trying to say?
Not force, no.
Persuade,
I'm gonna turn
coerce.
to Ben and be like, "What is a honcho, and do I want to be one?"
Who did you turn to?
Ben.
The person in charge, and I guess that depends on your stance on, like, being a leader. I mean, head honchos have a lot of power, and it can be, I guess, this probably is. I'm not really a honcho. I'm just a thinker. But
Are there such
But
thing
I thought
feet
honchos were
honchos?
what?
Are there such thing as feet honchos?
I don't think so. But maybe you could make it a thing.
I thought honchos were those things that you wear over your head when it's raining.
No,
That
that's
is
a
a
poncho.
poncho, dear.
Oh, that's really weird. I don't know. We don't use them.
So, Francis, maybe with a little less metaphor, could you continue your explanation?
I didn't have too much after that.
I don't see why we should not do that. It seems like a pretty good plan.
So to recap, we're feeding them
Yes.
and we're just luring them away with food,
The best way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
or between the third and fourth ribs.
That is accurate.
I tend to agree with my sister here. It would be difficult to perform surgery through the esophagus.
And the other one from. I think it depends on who's cooking, because I'm a pretty terrible cook.
Oh, you never improved on that, I hear.
No, sorry.
Okay, I want to hear about the sibling fighting stuff.
It's terribly uninteresting.
I'm not doing anything
You know where
better
she's been?
now that I'm up.
Go back to sleep, strange old
Okay.
man.
You do act like an old man.
You can't be that old.
Nah.
He's not. He doesn't look
You're
like
human
he's
after
old.
all.
How old are you? Are you what? 22? 23?
I am looking at my character sheet.
What is he talking about?
I'm 20.
Good
I,
man.
I'm gonna at that point I'm gonna look at Ven, kind of laugh hysterically, and go, "He's a pup."
Humans
You're
do that. They're like, it's weird.
Okay, I know that you guys are elves,
Actually,
but calling humans
like-
pups is a little bit weirder.
Okay, like you guys would consider somebody who is like 80 old, right?
I mean,
Very, very old.
That's
Does
like,
anyone actually live until they're 80? I've never met
I'm
anyone. who does.
67.
Man,
I'm
I
60.
consider
I am
someone who's
65.
18 old.
I'm so sorry. You two must be expecting to die soon.
Oh, not for
No,
another
no.
century at least.
That's not possible.
We're
Nobody,
elves.
Welcome
nobody.
to elves.
There are benefits to not being human. There are also detriments, and everyone thinks you're a little weird. But
Turning
no
to
matter.
Francis. So, you must be getting ready for your testing soon, then.
They
I
generally
mean,
don't-
we
they
usually
don't have
go.
that.
We usually go through that younger.
They don't. The humans don't have that like we do.
What?
Yeah,
How do they know where they should be? What they
they
should
don't.
do?
It's a really weird thing.
It's called free will.
But you don't know what you're. But you don't know what you are an expert in?
We try different things. It's like you. You're trying going outside. Are you good at it? I don't. I don't. I really don't
It
know. I'm
wasn't
actually.
exactly his choice to go outside. In this case,
No, not exactly.
But I thought that you were trying to explore something. And get
I
out
never
of the-
said any such thing to you.
I don't know.
Hint,
You said-
hint, Gabrielle.
I don't know. You say you always talk about how you're a tinkerer and stuff. I don't know. I don't know very many tinkerers who go outside. You don't look like you've been outside for a very long time. You're very pale.
he's got gray skin.
Would you call
pretty
this
pale.
pale? Yeah, my
Yeah.
skin is basically almost black.
Okay, listen. I don't mean to be a little bit mean to be strange or what have you, but there's a very big difference between having dark skin like that and dark skin like mine. Mine is dark because I'm outside all the time. Yours is just like that.
Yeah, and reference for the viewers, I was not saying black as in of African descent. I'm saying black as
No, I
in
know.
like pitch black.
I don't think anybody.
Drow tend to have
about
dark
that.
gray skin.
I appreciate the qualification, but yeah, no. In any case, so where have you been actually then? Why is he mad at you?
Felix is gonna wander off and get some food.
Then's gonna kind of like pat Ven's shoulder and go, "Have fun explaining, but maybe it's easier to explain over coffee," and start looking for a cup of coffee.
I will not explain this without my brother. He is the only person here who deserves this explanation. The short story,
Understood.
Mari, is that I left home 40 years ago and I haven't been back, and I haven't really contacted them.
That's a lot of
happened.
years.
Yeah. It's been a
As he's walking away and hears that's a lot of years, Then's gonna kind of like turn back and kind of go, a paltry sum, really.
And why you're so angry about it?
I was actually about to say that you don't seem to think that in all actuality. I understand that you live a long time, but if I'm correct, does time not pass the same way? You just live for a lot longer.
Emotionally, it passes the same. Physically, maybe not.
So it's not a paltry sum as you say.
I think he was using sarcasm.
Oh,
Wow, at least one person picks up on it.
anyway. In any case, I will not force you to tell the story if your brother is not going to be present, but I would like to hear it at some point. You seem to be very.
At this point, I completely stop, turn around, and go, wow. Then you clearly haven't learned much more about people, have you? I was implying to come with me so we
I-
would be more comfortable with this conversation.
Sorry, I thought this conversation was happening as we were walking.
Oh, are we walking?
I probably didn't say that, but
No, that's fine.
I'm sorry, I'm a little out of it right now.
Francis is gonna get the hint that maybe this conversation isn't for everybody, so he's gonna peel off, and he's gonna go hang out with Felix. Just keep an eye on him.
Amari's gonna cut a note, but in that case, well, maybe you two should catch up by yourselves for a while. I'm going to also.
Thank you.
No, please, feel free to be involved in our familial discussions and arguments.
Okay, I do understand sarcasm. Okay, I just missed the one thing. Also, my accent is definitely falling apart. I am going to go play with my cat.
You want to bring your cat for breakfast?
Okay, but
You want to bring your cat? You want to bring your cat for breakfast, Amari?
I suppose so, but my cat's butt is not quite as majestic as its face. Please do not object.
okay, that was out of character, but
Oh. Okay. Don't really, but
No, that's
we're cat butt.
Why is cat butt becoming a thing for us?
because
Y'all
of
are
Lewis, I
weird.
think.
thank you, Noah.
Noah, please don't say y'all. It is literally just the two of them.
Ethan does not want to be lumped in with our craziness.
Also, you aren't southern enough for y'all.
Ethan,
I use y'all all the time.
Ethan cannot be clumped to the
I
cat
have
butt.
actually a lot of southern roots, so
Yes, but you
That
don't act
is-
southern enough.
You're not even from the South, Ethan.
No, I know. The only reason why I say y'all is because I'm constantly around people who are.
it's also just
Okay,
a
but like if
really
you have connections to the South, but you're from York, Pennsylvania, not Pennsylvania, sorry. If you're not from the South, then you kind of are both in the same boat.
Just go full Philadelphia Trenton. Just go use guys.
What's up with yous?
Yeah, what's up with these
What?
guys?
Guys.
Used?
Use guys.
Alright.
I am
And
not
then-
going to use that.
Use guys. Come on.
Moving along with the session that should be ending soon.
Yeah, so out of character, do you guys want to well, I guess it's more of a Tasha and Ethan question. Do you guys want to do that now, or would you rather wait until the next session? Start next session. Next.
I mean, if it's just going to be a private thing between the two of us, we could even just do it during the week over Facebook Messenger.
I'll leave that up to you guys.
Cool with
What-
whatever.
Let's move on. Just kind of saying.
Alright, then in that case, I am going to say, so you guys are heading off your separate ways, as there's nothing that I need to accomplish. I'm gonna call it there. So,
Well, in that case.
what? If you want to do your piece, you're welcome to. I just don't. Were you
Tasha, I
planning-
will leave that up to you. You're the one that's going to be doing most of the talking.
It's not a terribly long story, so
Okay.
Go
I
for it.
can
Yeah.
I could probably run that out in 5 minutes if you need.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so you got your coffee and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ven sits down and says, "You asked why I didn't answer your letters. That would be
Yes.
because I didn't get them.
Oh, what a wonderful excuse. What proof do you have?
I have no proof. I'm not lying.
Well, I will choose to believe you for now. Just explain where you've been.
When I did my testing, they pulled me aside afterward. They said that, as expected, I had shown aptitude for tinkering, but that had also shown some aptitude for self-defense of a measure. They had a bit of a situation in whatever the town that I've been at for the last God knows how long years, because I still can't remember the name of that town. But Benwood, their tinkerer there had been killed, and in a way that made them made it very clear it was a murder. But they had suspicions that the tinkerer was killed because of his position. They said that at this point, I was the only person they had who showed enough aptitude to try to be put into that position given the potential level of danger. I was instructed not to tell any of you in case it was based on position, to try and keep you all safe. It, for your future reference, yes, it was based on the position. It took nearly 10 years for them to figure out what was going on, and it was not a pleasant time. That's part of it I'm not quite ready to talk about. It was, let's just say it was a very bad time to try to be in that town, in that spot. And by the time they figured it out, and I had been retrieved from the mess it had gotten me into, it had been about 10 years. At that point, I thought, and clearly I made a mistake, and I am so sorry for it. I thought that it would be less painful for everyone involved if I just stayed quiet and stayed away and let you live the life that I knew you had built for yourself. I'm sorry, Then. I didn't want to leave you. You're my little brother, and I love you so much. I thought it'd be better for everyone all around that you didn't wait 10 years and then have your sister be this damaged mess. That's about it. No, are you talking?
I'm not talking. No.
Okay.
Ethan, are you muted?
I can't hear Ethan though. I see his mouth moving, but I can't hear him.
I can't hear him either.
What a time
No.
for his mic to go
Nope,
out.
can't hear. Yeah, what a time for the mic to go.
Hello?
There we
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
Hi. Sorry.
I'm gonna have to replace these headphones. Yeah, so Thenmir, right when you said come back after 10 years and be this damaged person, then what I said was, Servana, you're not the only one that's damaged.
What happened to you?
And so at that point, the cloak kind of gets pushed off the shoulder, and he lays his left arm out on the table, showing the really, really intricately burn scars that look like he was. They look like what a tree looks like after being struck by lightning. With
Let me Google that.
actual skeletal structure, electricity follows the bone, but in this case it looks like it didn't. It burned the entire way up the arm at the surface of the skin with like the interweaving peaks and points.
Fun.
Well, it turns out that you were always the one with a sense of caution in experiments. And without that caution, damage can come about. I was continuing to experiment and try to tap the energy of an energy source less elegant than these crystals I use. If you recall, we had attempted containing spells cast by a sorcerer in small enchanted glass vials.
Mhm.
Well, I thought I had improved the vial design, but in doing so, I had weakened its tap, so to speak. And in attempting to load it into the gun before I ever even got it into the mechanism, it detonated in my hand and largely destroyed the usability of my arm. And after 15 years of struggling with only one usable hand, I was finally found by a cleric, which you know is incredibly rare.
Yes, I don't really have those. What's a cleric doing in whatever the town name you were in? Because I can't remember any of these.
Yeah, so well, it turns out that in our research, one of the researchers that I was contracted with needed to use divine energy in one of their experiments.
Oh.
As the cleric was there, she noticed that my arm was unusable and offered to regenerate it for me at the cost that I complete a research project for her.
What was the project?
That I would rather not share. Not yet. But as you can see, it still leaves scars, both physically and mentally.
How long ago was this?
Oh, probably 20 years.
I'm sorry, then.
Well, you must know one more thing about it.
Hmm?
It was the point when I started to hate you.
Ven just puts her face in her hands. She. Oh.
And I think that's where we should wrap up for the evening if you want to go for dramatic effect.
I'm gonna do one more. Ven reaches
Okay.
into her armor and pulls out a pressed flower.
Is it a pressed foxglove?
It's a pressed foxglove.
He reaches into under his cloak, pulls out a roll of black leather, a scroll of black leather, and unrolls it and removes a pressed black rose.
Alright, I'm cool calling it with that symbolism.
I'm gonna call it there. And cool. Thank you all for joining. Hope you enjoyed the excellent roleplay, guys. Really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. Not just that last stuff, but also just you guys did a really good job today.
It was
Really
fun.
enjoyable just seeing you guys be creative. So I was gonna call it. We will be back at some point. We have to figure out schedule because tomorrow's Wednesday and our weekly when are we playing question has to be sent out on Wednesday. Tasha.
I'm thinking about setting a weekly reminder to send it out every Wednesday at 9 a.m.
Well, every Wednesday I message my group to be like, all right, guys, because sometimes it takes 3 questions before my group decides to answer. So,
Yeah, I have noticed that. It's kind of interesting.
shall we say we're not as organized? Okay, hang on. Cute cat belly.
Cat belly.
Okay, my
Hi, baby.
cat butt is way more fun to say, but
Cat belly.
Cat belly.
Isn't he an adorable cat belly?
cat belly, cat butt,
It's your belly.
cat belly butt. Cat.
Yeah, my group is a little less organized.
That's possible.
But in any case, we will be back when we don't know, but it'll happen sometime. Just wanting us all have a
Yes.
fabulous night and a fabulous week. Hopefully this helped you get through the first couple of days. Because guess what? Tomorrow's hump day.
Hump day.
Not a long time at
Gabrielle, are you
all.
on Roll20 right now?
I am not, but I will get on.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I just closed it since we didn't end up using it. So, good night to all, and to all good night.
Good night. You guys want to do quotes first?
But that's it.
Do you want to do quotes first,
That's how it
folks?
works. Peace.
Quotes?
Andrew muted.
Oh. Quotes?
Oh, wait, quotes.
Quotes.
We forgot.
That was an awkward silence. That was my fault.
No, you
quotes.
good. You good. You good.
You want to start? Ethan, or do you want me to? We got 3.
Which one is it?
Starting with the pot roast one.
Right here.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying is you want pot roast, Francis.
Can I check if it's a boy method or a girl method? Andrew, Gabrielle. I mean, how would you know? Ethan. Pink Undress
Dirt Metwib Muffud. Ethan. Dirt Muppet. Andrew. Is that Miss Piggy's dirty cousin? Tasha.
That's it. I have a
Oh,
ton of quotes right now.
that was a weird one. All right.
Dirt Metwib Muffud.
There's Muffet. There's Muffet. There's Muffet.
Gabrielle,
a
you are
Muppet?
lit GM, right?
Yes. LGM.
All right. Also, we keep promising more content. It'll get there someday, kids.
Exactly.
All right.
Alright, y'all.
Have a good night, everybody.